Alright guys, so we're now able to register a user and get the token and log in after registration and also log out. However, we don't have a way to actually authenticate a user that's already registered. So that's what we want to do now. So let's just close all this up for now. And in components auth, we already have register modal and logout. Now we want to create login modal.js. And I'm just going to copy the register modal because a lot of it is similar. So we'll paste that in, and let's just start at the top here and change some stuff around. Let's see. So obviously we're not registering a user. We're going to have an action called login, so we might as well just put that in there. And then for the state, we don't need a name. Okay, we don't need a name. We just need an email and password. We're still going to have the message. As far as prop types, we do need is authenticated, an error, and also login. And as far as the errors, we're going to do the same type of thing that we did here, except we're going to look for an error of login fail, which we'll use as an ID. Okay, and then this stuff can all stay the same. That can stay the same. That the on submit is obviously going to be different. You know, what we'll do is just clear this stuff out. And then inside the actual modal, let's see, that's going to say login. And let's change the title here to login. We're still going to have the alert if there's a message. We don't need the name, so we'll get rid of the label and the input for the name. However, we do want the email and password. And then down here in the button, we'll change this to login. And then finally down here, this can stay, but we do want to change this register action to login. And then the component name, of course, is login modal. Which, did I actually change up here? No, I didn't. So this obviously should be login modal. All right. So we want to insert this into the nav bar. So in app nav bar, let's bring it in just like we did the register modal. So I'll copy that down. Login. Login, and let's see, we'll go right down here, copy that down, and change this to login modal. Now if I save this, we're going to get an error because we haven't created the login action, and we're trying to bring it in right here. So let's create that. Let's go into auth actions, and we'll go right above the logout, and let's say login user. So for the login user, a lot of it's going to be similar to the register user. We're hitting the API/auth endpoint, and we're just sending the email and password. So what I'll do is copy the register. I'm just going to copy this entire thing here down to here and paste that in and change this to login, and it's only going to take in an email and password. This is going to stay. We want the application JSON for the type. The body is going to just have the email and password. The endpoint is going to be API/auth, which we created back in the Node Express video. If everything goes okay, we want to call login success. If not, then login fail. And then I'm going to change the ID of this return errors to login fail as well. So we'll save that. Okay, good. And that should do it. If we get login success, we send the response as the payload to the auth reducer, which is where's my reducers? Right here. So login success. I'm sorry, that's log out. So login success, which will do the same exact thing as register success. It'll set the token, it'll set is authenticated to true, it'll set the user and all that stuff. So let's go back into our app and go to login. If I just leave this blank, oh, we never called the action, that's right. So back in login modal, we need to go to on submit, because right now on submit is doing absolutely nothing. Okay, so this is the last part of it, it should be. So our on submit, we want to, let's get the email and password from the component state. So whatever is filled in the fields. And then I'm also going to get, actually, let's create user. So we're going to create a user object to submit, which has the email and the password. And then we're going to call this dot props dot login, and we're going to pass in that user. So right here, let's just say attempt to log in. Okay, and then up here it should still, if the modal is open and we get authenticated, it should close, so we should get that same effect. So again, let's go back and hit login. Okay, please enter all fields. Let's do Brad. Let's do someone that doesn't exist, so Brad1@gmail. Okay, user does not exist, so let's do Brad@gmail, which does exist, but let's do incorrect password. We get invalid credentials. All right, so let's do the correct credentials, log in. There we go. So if we go and we look at our auth state, we look at the user, you can see that Brad is logged in. All right, so that wasn't too bad. Now that we're able to register, log in, and log out, we have to handle some access control. So I'm going to start off with this menu. This is just weird having a log out and a log in at the same time. So let's go to our app nav bar. And let's see, did we bring in anything? No, we didn't. So we need to access our auth state from the app nav bar. So that means we have to bring in connect so that we can connect to Redux. So we'll go right here and say import connect from React-Redux, and let's also bring in prop types. Okay, and then down at the bottom here, we need to export default connect and pass in here map state to props, which I'll create in a second, and null, and then the name of the component, which is app navbar. All right, so right here I'm going to do const map state to props, takes in the state, and we want to get the auth state. Okay, so auth state.auth. So this is going to be a prop, so we'll add our prop types up here. So what was it, auth? So that's an object. Oops, prop types dot object dot is required. Okay, so now we have the auth object. So what I want to do is go into the render above the return, and I'm going to pull out from the props, this dot props auth, which includes all the state values. So it includes this stuff. I want to grab the is authenticated. I also want to grab the user because I want to say like welcome and then the username in the nav bar. So let's do that. Let's pull out is authenticated and user from the auth state, or from the props that we mapped from the state. And then I want two variables I want one for auth links for users that are logged in and one for guest links. So let's say const auth links, and I'm going to set this to a fragment. So I'm going to bring in up here from React fragment. All right, now we want our logout in here. So I'm just going to grab this, put that in there. Okay, and then we want our guest links. Which we're also going to wrap in a fragment. And we want the register and login in there. So I'm going to cut those, put those in here. And then where we had these, which is, this is now self-closed. Yeah, we want to do that. And then in here, we're going to put a ternary operator and check is authenticated. Okay, if authenticated, then we want to show auth links. Else, we want to show guest links. Okay, so we'll save that. Let's see if that works. And there we go. We're logged in, so we just see log out. Now, I also want to put a welcome message, like I said. So I'm going to go back in here, and in the auth links right here, I'm going to put another nav item, and I'm going to put a span with a class name or a couple class names of navbar-text and margin right 3, which are just bootstrap classes. And inside here, I'll put a strong tag, and I just want to put an expression here, and I want to say if user, then let's put some backticks, and we'll just say welcome, and we'll say user.name. Okay, so we're pulling the user out of the auth state, and we're putting out the name. So let's save that. Let's see, looks like we got an error here. Oh, I didn't put the else. So else, then nothing. Okay, so let's go back, and there we go. Welcome, Brad Traversy. Okay, and if I log out, everything gets cleared out. Look in the state. There's nothing in the auth. Good. So we'll try to log in with a different user. Let's use Kevin. Log in. We get welcome Kevin Smith. Awesome. Okay, so next thing, we want to be able to add an item. We still can't do it, even though we're logged in. We haven't made it so that we send the token with any of these. If I click delete, it still doesn't work. Okay, so what we need to do is go into our items action, which is right here, item action, actions. And let's see, we're gonna let's bring in our token config. So that's the helper function that we created to basically set up to get the token from local storage and then put it in the headers. So we want to import that from, and that's in the auth actions. Okay, so I also want to be able to return errors. If something goes wrong, I want to put it in the error state. So let's do return errors from what is errors actions. Okay, and then in here, let's see, this is just getting the items. We don't need a token for this. However, I do want to add a .catch to the Axios request here. So this is the .then, which ends right here. Let's actually put this like that, and then we'll say dot catch error, and then let's just dispatch return errors, and we're going to pass in the error dot response dot data and error dot response dot status. Save it. Prettier, just fixed it up a little bit. Okay, and we'll go down here, and let's do the same thing with the dot catch. So I'm going to just copy this, and let's see, this ends here. Go ahead and paste that in. Same thing here. All right. Now we need to send along the token with both add item and delete item. So along with dispatch, remember we need that get state, because that gets passed into the token config that we brought in. And we want to put, let's see, in addition to the endpoint of items and the item data, we also want to put in token config and pass in get state. And then we want to do the same thing for delete. So get state, and then down here pass in token config and get state. So all that's doing is attaching the token to the request in the header. Okay, so we'll save that, and let's go back and let's see if we can delete, and there it goes. And you can see over here we get delete item. Let's see if we can add. Okay, we'll add item. Actually, I already had steak. I'll put in milk, and there we go. Now if I log out, now I can't do anything. However, I don't want, this is kind of weird to have this show if it can't do anything. So we're going to change this up a bit to take away these delete buttons, and also to get rid of this and say please log in to add an item. Now you could use React Router if you want and just have this be a private route so that it just goes to some welcome page or something, but I don't want to get into React Router. So I'm just going to kind of just say, you know, if we're not authenticated, then don't show this stuff. So let's see, this is, we're gonna have to do this in both the, let's see, we want the item modal. So the item modal is where the button is, and of course the modal to add the item. So we want to bring in the auth state here. So let's go down to the bottom, and all we need from the auth state is authenticated. So let's just bring that in. So state.auth is authenticated. All right, and then let's go up top. Let's actually add this as a prop type, which I think we need to bring in. Yep. So we'll go here, static. So is authenticated, set that to prop types.bool. Now we only want to show the button if we're authenticated. So I'm going to go down into the render where we have this div, and right within this div, I'm just going to put this in up here, and then we'll move the button in. But I'm just going to put a ternary here, and we're going to say if this dot props dot is authenticated, then we want this button to show. So I'm going to just cut that and put that right here. Else, then let's put an H4, and it's not working. We'll put an H4 here, and I'm going to give it a class name, of MB-3 just to move things down a little bit, and also margin left -4, and inside here we'll just say please log in to manage items. Oops, manage items. Alright, so let's save that. And there we go. So please log in to manage items. Now the next thing is these deletes. So this is the shopping list component. So we want to kind of do the same thing that we did here in shopping list. So let's go into shopping list JS and bring in the auth is authenticated. From state.auth is authenticated. We'll add it to our prop types. Oh, it looks like before I just took the name of the class and did .prop types, which I don't really like doing. I don't know why I did that. So I'm going to move this. We'll say static, and we want to move this within the class. So let's bring that up here. I think it's just a cleaner way to do it. Okay, and we just want to add is authenticated. And that is a Boolean. Okay. Now let's find where the delete is. So we have our list group item, and it looks like this is the delete button right here. So we only want to show this if we're authenticated. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll put in a ternary. We'll say if this dot props dot is authenticated, then we'll show the delete button. So we'll just cut that. Okay, else, then we'll just say null. Okay, so we'll save that. We'll go back, and now there's no delete button. All right, so not only can we not do that stuff because we're not logged in, we can't even see it. So let's go ahead and log in. Let's say Kevin and log in, and there we go. So now we have access to the deletes. We can delete. We also have access to the items, or to add items. Okay, so that's it. We have full authentication using JSON Web Tokens. And I do, for those of you that have taken my Mern Stack course on Udemy, we did use Passport.js on the back end, and I'm going to be redoing that course very, very soon. And I'm going to be doing something more like this without using Passport, just using our own custom middleware. I think that it's less bloated, it's less to worry about. We don't have to deal with Passport. So look forward to that if you either you took the Mern Stack course or you plan on taking it. One last thing I want to do is change this title. This has been bothering me, this just React app. So let's just go into public index HTML and let's change that. So we'll just change this to shopping list. Okay, now the repository, I'm going to put the link in the description, and it should have all the updated code. So if you're stuck on something, you can't figure it out, just take a look at the repository, and you should be able to find the issue. All right, so that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video.